Hello.
Yeah.
Put your pants on.
What's up, people?
Oh my god.
You like what you see?
Mm-mm.
Follow me on Instagram.
I'm blocking you. Welcome, people, to the show.
I need to get more mics.
You do.
Sure.
Or you can just sit on the bed. There's no reason to get a chair when you can sit on the bed. There's no reason.
Ooh, fool.
Shout out to Alba and Preach. Oh, we're gonna need to be able to see the I guess the stuff that we're, because we was looking on the when you see Microsoft start, if any of you have Microsoft, you can see like all the news that happened today.
Was this live?
Yes, I'm recording.
Oh.
So I'm gonna screen share. And you can actually see, one of the Marvel stars passed away, got rest his soul, in a skiing accident.
His name is Mark Gray. Is that it? Yeah, it says the Marvel Universe is mourning after French actor Gasper Julio, who stars as Midnight Man in Marvel's buzzy upcoming Moon Knight series, died on January 19th following a ski accident in the French Alps. News agency AFP reported. Variety reported that, according to AFP, Gasper, a two-time Caesar Award winner, France's version of the Oscars, was transported by helicopter to a hospital in Grenoble, France, after suffering serious brain trauma when he collided with another skier at the intersection of two slopes on January 18th.
Yeah, that's tragic. So you know about Moon Knight, the series. Well, you heard a little more about it than I. So you want to explain it a little bit?
I don't know that much about it. Like, basically, he's a Marvel superhero. He's what I guess some people like to call Marvel's Batman or Marvel's answer to Batman.
Oh.
Although I've also heard people say like Iron Man is like that, but I would probably say Moon Knight, I guess, is closer. I don't know that much about him because he's somewhat of a more obscure character. But considering how Marvel's made all these like B, C, D-list characters into A-listers, they're basically taking a chance on this character. So basically, I believe it's gonna be. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be on Netflix. I think they already said where it's supposed to be airing. But I would definitely say check that out. And again, RIP to this actor. And also, I apologize for any of the words that I messed up. I'm not French.
Yeah, we're not French.
That's French speakers, so
yeah.
Sorry for butchering that. But it is sad to hear that this happens, especially like this, this early in the year. And also, I hope the other, ski person that he's doing well.
Yeah, the person that he collided with.
Yeah. Never heard anything about that person, but hopefully they're doing okay.
Yeah. Prayers go out.
Yeah.
So, with another death for 2022, how do you think the year 2022 is ranking up?
Yeah, it's about the same so far.
No different from 2021?
No.
No different from 2020?
No.
How about 2019?
I guess technically it would be worse than 2019. But as far as like this decade so far, it's been about the same, which
yeah. I think this decade, the 2020s, It's nothing like the Roaring Twenties of the past century.
Well, I guess it could be considered the Roaring Twenties, depending on how you want to look at that.
The Roaring Twenties are protests, riots, and illnesses.
Yeah, well, the Roaring Twenties also ended pretty badly, so maybe it'll end on a high note.
One may hope, one could think.
I would hope so.
Yeah, me too. And I would hope that it would, like, pick up something, like, something go better than how this is. And anything else you want to talk about, or you just want to let this video be a short one, and then we could, do another one on a different topic?
Well, we also saw that apparently. Oh wait, scroll down. Check, because it was.
I will have to share the screen again.
Oh, well, yeah. So apparently, Regina King's son, Ian Alexander Jr., also passed away recently at age 26.
Let's see. Sharon. Yeah, it'll be this one.
Yes. So that's also quite unfortunate.
Very.
So let's see what's going on here. Scroll down.
I'll read this one. Regina King's 26-year-old son, Ian Alexander Jr., has died. A spokesperson for the actor confirmed Saturday morning. Our family is devastated at the deepest level by the loss of Ian. The statement read, "He is such a bright light who cared so deeply about the happiness of others. Our family asks for respectful consideration during this private time." He was King's only child. Now that's really, really messed up.
Yeah.
I was hoping that, like, maybe she had another one, but no. King's only child, whom she shared with ex-husband Ian Alexander Sr., according to the Associated Press. The two were very close with Alexander Jr., often accompanying his mother on the red carpet. They even matched tattoos reading "Unconditional Love" in Aramaic, the AP reported. Oh, that's really sad. Last year, Alexander Jr. posted a tribute to his mother on her birthday, writing, "Able to watch you take this lifetime by its neck and make it yours is something I will forever be grateful for. But to have you as my mother is the greatest gift I could ask for. To be all that you are, while always having the time to be there, love, and support me unconditionally is truly remarkable." Alexander Jr. was a DJ who went by, I guess, Desdune or Desdune. We know I see the accent over the E. He had just recently released a song called "Green Eyes," which King posted about on her Instagram last week. We could probably look that up.
Yeah.
According to Alexander Jr.'s Instagram, he had a show scheduled for January 18th in Los Angeles. King is known for her roles in the movie If Beale Street Could Talk. I probably said that wrong. Apologies. And on the television show Watchmen. She also directed the 2020 film One Night in Miami. Oh yeah, that I heard a lot about that one. She had won an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, 4 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 2 NAACP Image Awards over the course of her more than 30-year career. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, she was also in the Boondocks too.
Yeah, she was also in the Boondocks, but they ain't gonna mention that. They ain't gonna mention that here. They didn't mention that she was playing voicing both Riley and Huey.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna mention that.
Or her 90s material.
No, they ain't gonna mention that.
For reasons.
For reasons. They're not gonna mention her other work that we know her for.
Yeah. Let's just say her underground
Yes. Controversial.
material.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's a great actress, and again,
You know, my condolences to her and her family.
yeah, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
The month is not even finished yet.
Yeah. So January 2022, official garbage, trash, trash. Between Flurona, anniversary of a certain date on January 6th. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, unfortunately.
And you know, that is on Orthodox Christmas Eve. Yeah, Orthodox Christmas Eve. Y'all started to act up.
Yes.
Y'all went cray.
Yes, it's gonna be forever from anonymous with that.
I know.
Anonymous with that, I should say.
Yeah.
Quite unfortunate, if you think.
Yeah, unfortunate for many Orthodox Christians that now our day of celebrating Christmas has been tainted with the memory of what happened.
Yes. But in other random news, there's been something kind of stirring in the video game world. As you may have heard, Microsoft has either they have already, or at least in the process of buying. Well, they think they already may have happened already, but they've bought Activision Blizzard.
Oh no.
So that means they own a whole bunch of stuff. I think that also includes stuff like Call of Duty.
Yeah, and like the MMOs, the mass multiplayer what was it? Mass multi I'm gonna look it up because MMOs are really popular with online video gaming communities.
Yes. Like we'll cover more of this later.
And I believe like Blizzard owns like Blizzard games. Yeah. So Blizzard owns World of Warcraft. That's now owned by Microsoft. Did they actually do the buyout? Or is it only being rumored?
No, they're already in the process of doing it.
Oh no, they signed the papers. So you know that's another company merger. That's going to be another company disaster. So you know, watch out for your favorite games.
Yes.
Like you know, you gotta keep a watch out for Overwatch, Heroes. You gotta watch out for the World of Warcraft, Diablo.
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh no.
Spyro the Dragon.
Oh no.
Because you're just looking at the Blizzard side of things, you're not looking at the Activision side of things.
Oh. I'm not looking forward.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Come on, no, you can't be touching that.
Possibly Call of Duty.
Oh, my Call of Duty fans.
Y'all
better rise up.
Now, here's the thing, though. It doesn't have to be an absolute disaster. It could wind up being a good thing. I don't think it will be.
I don't think so.
Because I'll be honest, when I first saw that, there was a chill. Like a disturbance in the force. I don't know where this is going to lead to. It's not even just like the situation itself happening, but what this could lead to in the future. This could lead to a huge mass monopoly of gaming as we know it.
We don't need more monopolies. We have enough monopolies. We have Monsanto on pesticides and, you know, genetically modified seeds. We don't need any more monopolies.
People are now looking to see what Sony is going to do, what their move is. Like your move.
Your move.
So people wonder if Sony if Sony is going to decide to try to buy out a company, which they may. Although I think actually there was one company people are thinking that might get bought out by Sony. Square Enix. So take a look at that. Who knows? Maybe Nintendo might jump into it. Although I feel like if Nintendo was to buy out something, it's definitely going to be Sega.
But Sega, like Sega on the PC game side, I don't want Nintendo's hands in that. I don't want Nintendo touching Rome, the Total War franchise, because that's made with Sega.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna care that much about that.
But what if they start putting budget cuts? It's like, you know what? We're gonna cut the PC games. You can't be messing with that world, my guy.
I think what people would need to be more concerned about would, clearly be Sonic.
Sega.
So, do you think that would be a good idea?
I think Sonic's already on its way out. I don't. I don't see Sonic lasting that much longer. Like maybe for nostalgia reasons, maybe the movie that came out might keep it going, but I don't really see it in the I think for that reason the merger might be good. It might help with the Sonic games development. Cause let's be real, Sega hasn't been doing. It's like a hit and miss when with the Sonic games when Sega is in charge.
Yeah, like that's always been the issues. Like Sega's very inconsistent with how they handle things.
And Nintendo is very consistent and formulaic in how they do things. So I think the merger in that case for Sonic would be a benefit. I'm just concerned about the PC game part.
Like I said, I don't think you really need to worry about it that much.
Mm,
And also, when it comes to Sonic, like Sonic at this point is like it's branched out to like just like other media in general. So that's part of also. I think that's also part of the reason why it's lasted as long as it has, and I think it will continue to last. You can even make the argument that Sonic does very well in other media as opposed to like the game.
so that's a problem with Sega's part. Because that means Sega is like, they need to get their stuff together. I don't know if it's like with their vision or direction, they need to change that. So to make themselves competitive.
yeah, but they've always had that issue of have like a one united vision because this goes all the way back to the 90s. Like even like I would say it goes far back as like the development for Sonic 2. In case you didn't know, this is kind of more well documented now, like the whole development with Sonic 2 and Sonic CD, because both of those were going to be two different Sonic 2 games. Sonic CD was being developed by the Japan team, and then Sonic 2 was being developed by the American team. And there was some like issues or whatever, so one of the people had left Japan and went to the US to help develop Sonic 2.
Mhm.
So there's always been that kind of split going on. And so that's always been kind of unfortunate. That kind of led to where they are now. And with the Sonic series in particular, because they're always kind of changing things up, before they kind of able to like finalize things, that's kind of create like a whole split. That's why you have this whole discussion, at least in the past few years, since pretty much since Sonic Forces, about the whole like, for example, the adventure style versus the boost style.
Yeah.
So that's always been that issue, and I'm not sure if you're keeping up with what's going on right now because they have a new Sonic game supposed to be coming out soon, and people are already very concerned about it. Like some of the trailers that's come out, I haven't really seen much of the trailers for the game. I've been like, I kind of wanted to do like a live reaction to it along with some other things, but for what I've been hearing, some people are not like happy with what they've been showing, or maybe they are, but they're just a little concerned because Sega's past issues. And plus, it's going to be the first like big game since Sonic Forces back in 2017.
Yeah.
And that game wasn't very good.
We have it actually.
Yeah, maybe stream it sometime. Like it's not the worst thing ever, but it's like mediocre
Compared to the other game that came out, which was clearly better. Which one was that?
Mania.
Yeah, Sonic Mania. I think it came out at the same time.
It came out like a few months before, but it came out that same year.
Same year. A better made game.
What made it worse is that was that same year, Breath of the Wild and Odyssey came out.
So you're trying to compete to get people sales when you got Odyssey And Odyssey is a beautiful game.
Yeah, like a lot of people are debating either that or Breath of the Wild is Game of the Year.
Yes. So you got two high quality, well polished games that you're trying to compete with.
And mind you, Breath of the Wild came out, at the beginning of 2017. They pretty much ended it with Odyssey.
So Nintendo's going back to back.
Yeah. And then in between, you have the Sonic games. Now, Mania was, a classic style Sonic game made by. It was essentially a game made for the fans by the fans. And what I find interesting though is like the concept people did have with the game was mainly thanks to Sega and the Sonic team. For example, like one criticism that was had about the game was the fact that it had more old levels instead of new ones. Which I was fine with because they actually were able to spruce up the levels to a point where they they made them fresh and arguably maybe even like some of the best versions of those levels, like Green Hill and all that. I know by that point, like Green Hill and Chemical Plant, like that was already getting a little fatigued, especially coming off of Generations, which already did that. So I know when the trailers for that came out, I was like, oh, not this again. And then have that coming out the same year as Forces, which also use those two particular levels.
Yeah, you always gotta switch it up. Variety.
Yeah, so but the thing is that they were able to make those levels fresh, whereas opposed to Forces, not so much. Also, Forces has some pretty bad level design. You can tell that game was rushed. Although in the case of Forces, one of the things they did, which I think was absolutely terrible, was the marketing for it. Because there were parts where they blatantly lied about it. For example, I remember one of the first levels they had shown for that particular game. They were saying like, "Oh, there's more to the level. This is like the beginning part of the game." When it was like level 16, and it's like 30 levels, so it's like halfway through the game they were showing. That city, level, which by the way is just called the city. Yeah, it doesn't even have a real name. It's just called the city.
The city?
Yes. There was a cut level in Sonic 2. This is pretty infamous. It's called, well, it has two names. One of it's called Cyber City, which actually they kind of repurpose, well, at least some of the ideas for one of the levels in no, it was the third level in Sonic Spinball.
Mm-hmm.
The other name was called Genocide City.
No, we don't do that here. You should know better already.
Yeah, but I think what happened was they didn't really know what that meant because the whole English Japanese like language. So when they found that out, that's when they changed it to Cyber City. But I was gonna say if they did want to use that name, hold on, I would abbreviate it to G City.
What about just not use genocide and just make up a word like genos or something like that?
Yeah, but anyway, like so if they wanted to use that name or whatever, I think Forces actually would have been a good time to use it for that. Because think about it, that city was on fire, it was being destroyed.
They knew what genocide meant, Anthony. No, you can't use that argument.
You can use that argument.
No.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that they could have, like, I would say call like G City instead of just calling it the city in Forces. I'm
just like, let's not use problematic terms at all.
Yeah, but I'm edgy though. Hey, look, I think it will help the game out. It's not like it could go any lower than that. Unless they want to be like 406.
No.
And that's another thing too. I'll say this about 2000 Sonic 06. That game actually could have been good. It actually has good level design. Okay, the story definitely needed work, but that was
the story.
but that's the thing though. I'd probably say the biggest problem with that game is probably the big problem with a lot of games after a certain point, which is the fact that it was rushed. It needed some time in the oven, but they rushed it out so they can get it out for like a specific time. Because I think at the time that game was coming out, the series was celebrating. It was like, what was it? Like 10, 15, 20 anniversary or something like that. So I could understand them trying to get the game out during that point, But here's the thing: like sometimes if it just isn't ready to come out, it just isn't ready to come out. I understand they wanted to have like a big release for a big anniversary, but sometimes it just doesn't work like that. I'd rather thing come out late and finished.
Like it was polished and complete. Like, please stop releasing these the beta testing games. Like, stop forcing people to pay to test your games. Make your games complete. No, I'm sick of it. Like, it's like, oh, and then they release it as DLC. You release the completion of the game as DLC. No, no.
Like 15.
Sega, remember Rome 2? How many patches did that take? Oh my God, how many years did that take for you to fix it?
Did they even fix it though?
Like,
Or they're still in the process of doing that? They're still working on it.
it's done. It is what it is at this point. But like, shame on you, Sega. Everybody who worked on that game, shame on you, because what y'all did was just a money grab. It was just a money grab. I don't like that. I'm tired of all these games sitting there, like, abusing the DLC system just so that y'all can release these games in beta.
Yeah, that's usually the higher ups though, because they be rushing these developers and stuff like, oh, you gotta have this come out like now, whatever.
Change the system.
Well,
well,
better leadership. Get people that know what they're doing. Or here's another thing too, but kind of going back to the Sonic thing, like maybe they should consider getting some new people to help.
It's big money.
Some fresh faces.
It's big money.
Because another thing too that could happen. All right, think about it like this. Let's say you've been working on something for years. Eventually you may get bored with it, right?
Yeah.
So you get some new people to work on it to kind of breathe some new life into it. Because I've heard that's what they was doing with Breath of the Wild. Honestly, they got some new people to work on those games to breathe some new life in those series. Because by that point they already, you can argue, kind of exhausted the formulas or whatever they were doing with those games, which I think is fine. Like if you want to continue to do like a formula, whatever, especially as long as it's improving, and and then after that you can change it up. Because also just changing it up like constantly isn't gonna help, especially when you never like finalize or like fully like realize what you was working on before.
Yeah,
because that kind of happened like with some like the side like Kingdom Hearts games. Although that also has to do with the fact they had like two different teams working on the games, and I think they're the main team that's working like the early games. They had to get them off to work on one of the other pretty much one of the Final Fantasy games. So the team that they worked was the Osaka team had to work on the later games, even though they're not maybe as good at doing it or they don't have as much experience. But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yep.
But yeah, I know we're just kind of jumping around now. So we've talked about we talked about a little bit of the comic book TV show news, video games. I guess one other thing we can mention is also the whole fiasco that.
Which one?
This one's involving DC now.
Oh, okay.
Well, for one, they have a new show called Naomi that's coming out on I think CW, or it's coming on somewhere. Some people are kind of like weary about it. But one thing I really wanted to talk like at least mention, we may talk about this more in depth when more information comes out about it, which is the possibility that the new Batman movie might actually have the Joker in it.
What? Like they're actually gonna get the Joker for real this time?
No, because the thing is that this film, the Riddler is supposed to be the main villain.
Yeah.
But this rumor is out that apparently that the Joker might be featured in this film. And a lot of people are concerned because, they don't want the Joker to basically hijack the film.
Yeah, I say if it's going to be the Riddler, let the other villains of Batman stand on their own.
Let them shine.
Yes, because we've been getting for like the last couple of years Batman movies back to back to back. where like it's always the Joker, the Joker, the Joker. Like let some other villain shine.
Yeah. Actually, I think they should let some other villains shine, especially if they want
And
to.
there's so many Batman villains that are actually really good villains. That's the one thing I liked about Batman for forever. Their villains are well thought out. They have character. They have backstories. Like you feel more sympathetic for the villains than you do Batman.
Yeah.
Like let them shine. Like how many more Jokers do we need? Like it's like we have a deck of cards full of Jokers. Like let's do this.
Like I said, I don't mind them having a Joker, but I think they should save him for later because I know this is a different universe. So, but yeah, let these other villains shine, especially if they want to do more like, for example, Suicide Squad films, which is a whole group of villains, or whatever. They would, and this is something I think they should have done from the start. Is like whoever they were planning, especially like for the Suicide Squad in particular, whoever they were planning on having be on those teams, I think they should have introduced them and some of these other superheroes as the main villains to kind of,
Of other movies.
yeah, to kind of like
MCU it.
yeah,
Do it right.
Yeah, to kind of like help flesh them out a bit.
Yeah, it's called character development.
And then have them join in a group.
Character development.
But the thing with the DCEU is that they rushed they rushed the whole universe because first they started with Man of Steel. Then they jumped into Batman versus Superman as their second film in that universe.
Wow.
Yes.
It's the gap for me.
Yeah, they even have like, first off, they only have one Superman film. Well, actually just one superhero film in general. They even have a Batman film. They just jumped straight to Batman versus Superman.
Like you're supposed to build up at least 2 or 3 movies before you do that. You're supposed to show the Superman side and the Batman side. And then Batman versus Superman would have been a greater movie because now in your movie you have to set up Batman's anger of him, and now it's like it just seems fictional. It don't seem real because you didn't have a whole movie to develop that.
Yeah, but more importantly, like when you do stuff like that, now you have to spend more time to try to flesh out this character before you actually get to the main conflict.
When I see Batman versus Superman, I just want to see conflict, not build up. Conflict. Show me the conflict.
Yeah. And that was the same issue with like the Justice League film. Because again,
there's so many issues. So many issues.
I haven't seen the Zack Snyder cut. I have heard is better, which I guess would make sense because I know that movie is a lot longer. But the thing about, like I was saying before, you wouldn't necessarily need to have that issue. Like they could still probably have the length if they, because again, you have like Infinity War and Endgame, whatever. But there was also a lot going on, and it's involved with a lot more characters. But what I'm saying is that they wouldn't have to spend as much time trying to like flesh out and develop these characters and just kind of focus more on the conflict and their character arcs instead of starting everything from scratch. That's what I'm saying. They should have did some of these other films earlier instead of kind of doing it backwards. Because then it's now we're getting like a solo Aquaman film, and now we're getting like, because outside of like Superman, the only other one that really got like a film was Wonder Woman. And this is again after Batman versus Superman. This is after Suicide Squad. Now we get Wonder Woman, then we get Justice League. When those films should have, well, in my opinion, I think they should have saved like Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad
for later dates.
Yeah, for like phase 2 or phase 3 when the universe is a little more established.
Well, frankly, it seems like they didn't have a whole lot of long-term planning. It feels like everything was very short term, and everything was kind of like, in the moment. It's like, just like an moment. And it's just like, okay, yeah, let's also do this and also do that. And there's somebody in the board meeting was like, hey, what about we do like the MCU? And they're like, yes, we should. Like, even if you was planning it like that, don't make it obvious. You're supposed to hide it. You're supposed to do like what the writers do. In your second edit, you're supposed to make it look like you know what you was doing.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that.
What they did do was they were showing that they wanted to do like their version of the MCU, but they were clearly rushing it. But here's the thing that needs to be understood. And this goes for all like any filmmaker or whatever, especially people that's trying to create their own cinematic universe. There's quite a few people that's trying to do that now. See, you're not gonna really catch up to the MCU anytime soon because Marvel's been doing it since 2008.
Remember that.
This wasn't a thing that they just started overnight.
This was planned for years.
Well, more importantly, they've been doing this for years. So instead, what they should have been focused, instead of trying to just jump right into it and like try to, I guess, rush to like the finish line, whatever. What they could have done is, or rather, what they should have done was just take their time and make the movies as good as they can be.
Yeah. Because if you look at the Iron Man movies, those are well-made movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know some people. Well,
I know people. Some people may not like them. I actually like them.
Well,
I appreciate them.
Well, the first one is actually really good, though.
The first one, Chef's Kiss.
Yeah, that one's still like easily a top 10 best MCU films. And mind you, that was the first one. So they actually knocked it out the park pretty well. Like you can feel whatever you want about the second and third ones because they have their problems for sure.
Yes, they do.
They're very flawed films.
Because it didn't have the same, it didn't just everything didn't line up the same because it's the sequel. Like you're kind of running on the adrenaline at this point, the momentum.
Yeah.
But after that, they polished it. They found a formula, a method that works. And remember, there was gaps from you gotta remember, this is a long time of building up the franchise, building up the characters, building what works, cutting out what didn't. And you gotta know when to cut out things that don't work.
Speaking of cutting things out, so this is another thing that's been very controversial, and it's been riling people up, and that is that. So the Flashpoint movie, I'm sure you've heard of it, that they're supposed to be coming out with, is one of the big things that's going to be happening with this film is that they are trying to remove Zack Snyder's movies from the universe, or the Zack Snyder first, as they like to call it. So they're basically gonna try to erase that stuff.
Ooh, spicy.
Which is funny because I think his movies have probably been some of the best ones they've had in the DCEU. So I think that's a little interesting that they're doing that, but I think they're just using him as the fall guy for their issues.
Because they don't want to take responsibility.
Yeah, and they probably have a higher standing, they got money and all that. So somebody has to take the fall. So he's taking the fall for their problems. And this is not to say he's perfect too. He's had his issues or whatever, and he's he's messed up, sometimes. But to put all the blame on him, that's not fair.
No, because it was a shared project. It wasn't a solo project. It was just one individual making the movie. Everybody is accountable. The producers are accountable. Everybody who had their fingers in the pot is accountable.
Yeah, and on top of that, he's actually been trying to do his best to fix the issues.
And he was working with what they gave him. Remember that.
Yeah, plus I know there's also some personal things that came out that happened that he had to deal with, because I think that was also part of the reason why he originally left the Justice League film, because I know Josh Whedon had to come in, I guess, do his version, because remember he has some personal issues he had to deal with at the time that movie was being developed. I know, for example, I know some people have issues with Man of Steel, especially with the whole I guess trying to do a darker Superman film.
Yeah, Superman murdering people.
Yeah, that's
killing Zod. Homeboy just straight up snap. Homeboy straight up murked him.
Spoiler about it.
Well, if you didn't see it by now, that's on you.
Speaking of which, that movie is gonna be 10 years old in a year from now.
Oh, all right.
And that, which would mean that we'll be reaching the 10-year mark of their cinematic universe. And what do they have to show for it? It's a mess.
Compared to MCU's, they package it, put a nice bow on top of it. They sit in there, come out with gifts. And what does the MCU have?
DCU.
Oh, I mean the DCU. They got a garbage dump.
Like it's at the point now where like the MCU can just like die off completely right now,
and like the DCU still wouldn't catch up. It wouldn't catch to where they were.
Like they could, like the whole MCU could just become like a complete dumpster fire and just fall off the face of the earth, and
it would still be better than the DCU.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's sad though because I feel like there's a lot of potential there with the DCU, especially since the DC in general has so many, like for example, like a lot of underutilized characters, both like
underutilized. I mean, severely. Like if you look at their roster, like I like the DC characters more than I do the Marvel characters, but we will never see that with the DCU because it's run by I don't know idiots. Somebody ain't doing their job.
Well, for one, a lot of them are, I think, afraid to use characters, especially
that are unknown.
Yeah.
But look at what the MCU is doing.
Yeah, Marvel has been banking off of using
the unknown characters. Come on.
Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. They're a good example of this. They were like honestly
take a chance.
Like they were essentially like D-list characters. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody cared about them. But look at them now. And even like characters like Iron Man, Captain America, like maybe you've heard of them or seen them every now and again, but they weren't like that big of characters. Like the biggest characters that Marvel really had was like Spider-Man, X-Men, I guess the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rest of them, they were like Captain America and like Iron Man. They were more like on the fence.
Yeah,
they sit on the fence of being like popular. Like they were popular enough that you maybe seen them before.
But Iron Man was not popular before the Iron Man movies.
Yeah, I'm saying like those guys were like sitting on the fence of being popular. Like maybe you've seen them before. Because I remember I have seen
Hawkeye was not popular.
Oh no, he was a D-list character.
Nobody cared about Hawkeye.
They still don't care about Hawkeye. Marvel's answer to Green Arrow. But yeah, like a lot of those characters weren't like that big. And look at for example, like Black Panther. Nobody knew or cared about him.
I knew. I cared.
I knew who he was too, but I'm saying not a lot of people cared and no one really had a reason to care. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. But now look at them. Now I don't know Wakanda for life.
Yes, Wakanda forever.
No, I was doing that before. Like
if you said they do it, if you was doing that in school, they look at you like, "What are you, a nerd? Weirdo? What's that? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But now, it's hip, it's cool. Oh my god, I dated myself.
Yeah, I'm just like like they've made careers over these lesser characters because they could have easily just stuck to like Spider-Man and X-Men
and all the boring, well-known ones.
No, they're pretty interesting.
Yeah, but no, but at that point with the other Spider-Man.
Well, the Spider-Man, what, the amazing one?
you don't remember the other guy that did Spider-Man 3 movies?
A lot of people love those films.
I hated it.
I think they were aged pretty well, actually.
No, I don't agree.
You definitely should rewatch it. Like the third one hasn't, but well, I'll give it the defense because the director Sam Raimi, he actually didn't want that whole movie was pretty much the same issue with Batman and Robin. It was just studio meddling. Because with Batman and Robin in particular, that whole film was made just to sell toys. But I'm pretty sure you could probably tell that one. Mm. So with Spider-Man 3, originally Raimi, he just wanted to just do, Harry Osborn as the new Green Goblin and Sandman. Mm-hmm. That was it. He didn't want to do Venom. They forced him to do that, so that got shoehorned in.
And it felt like it.
Because he doesn't really care for the character. He doesn't really understand him. And he doesn't really want to like write about like he want to do like a story of a character he doesn't understand.
And I felt it was just too many people in that film. I felt like it was just too many characters being introduced.
Yeah, it was. And he wasn't really going to do that.
And it felt like it, and it felt like it should have ended where, like,
And honestly, looking back at it now, I actually see the skeletons of a good movie. And I feel like if they just let him do what he was going to do, it would have been good.
but no.
But like I said, that studio meddling that happened with the Amazing Spider-Man movies, because the second one had that same problem where they again did the same thing. They shoehorned in a bunch of villains or a bunch of characters for no reason other than
Sell toys.
Well, the other thing too is that for years they've been trying to do the whole Sinister Six thing. And look, I love the Sinister Six as much as the next person. I would love to see that. But to do something like that, you have to like build that up first.
Yeah.
You can't just rush that. And they tried to, and Amazing Spider-Man 2 is basically Spider-Man 3 on steroids in the worst way. Like
the steroid crash.
Yeah. Because in that film they had Jamie Foxx as Electro, and if they just stuck with that, it would have been a good film.
Yeah.
But nope, they had a shoehorn in like what they had. I think they had a Rhino in there. Shocker. They threw in Green Goblin again, and he was really just used as a plot device.
Literally. Like, you got exhausted at the end of the movie.
Yeah, because you know how you remember the trailer when you saw Gwen Stacy falling?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Green Goblin was just born in just to finish her. That was it. No, because that's that whole story. He kills he kills a character, or whatever.
Yeah.
This is before they started doing the whole Spider-Gwen thing, but so yeah, he was just born into that film just to do that. So he was just a plot device.
Literally. Okay, now you're here and you kill her.
Yeah, because I guess he has to be the one to do it. Even though they probably could use Electro to do that, but no, they had to bring him in. Also, because they want to do some weird, they're trying to shoehorn in the Sinister Six thing. And the funny thing is, there was going to be a third Amazing Spider-Man 3 movie that was going to be a Sinister Six film. So they were going to do it again. They're going to try to do it a third time, or however many times they've been trying to do this. So, but the next film I'm going to mention, I don't want to talk too much about it because spoilers, but they do kind of come close to doing a Sinister Six film with the most recent one. But this one was done better because they were using already established villains because of the whole multiverse thing.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
What? Which movie?
This the newest one, No Way Home.
I want to see that.
I think you will like it.
All
right. It's actually pretty good.
Okay, so shut up.
I'll just leave it at that.
So shut your mouth. Oh, they finally go to do it. They're finally going to do it right this time because they got the right people.
Yeah, they're doing. It's basically like a Sinister Six Into the Spider-Verse film. I think you would actually enjoy it.
All right.
Yeah, this one I actually really do feel like they was trying with this one because again, their previous attempts to try to do this Sinister Six stuff has been but this one I think was better.
Nice. Are they going to bring Jamie Foxx back?
Go watch the film. It's pretty good. I know there's some people that have issues with it. It's probably more mixed received, I guess, but I think overall, I think it was a pretty solid film. And I think it also fixed some of the issues that people have been having with Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I don't have a problem with his Spider-Man.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it either, but I understand what people have been criticizing because I think the big issue people have been complaining is that he doesn't really struggle per se, and that he hasn't really been able to stand on his own 2 feet, especially since I know people feel like Iron Man and the Avengers have been kind of carrying him. Mm. So this film, I think, definitely kind of fixed that.
What, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh. Oh yeah, you did go to the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of Christmas shopping. Instead of. Yeah, I think it was definitely worth the watch. And I would definitely suggest you go check it out and see for yourself, see how you feel about it. And
that is the end of this episode.
Of whatever this is.
I don't know. It's just me uploading content.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she might split this up and Because you could actually cut this up and
No, I ain't doing that.
no, I mean you upload this one thing, and then like for highlights, upload like highlights of like specific topics that people might want to see. So you can do it like that, but obviously upload the whole thing first and then do that later.
Yeah.
That's how the professionals do it.
I'm not a professional.
Yet.
Oh
Follow us on Instagram.
no.
Or you follow me on Instagram
Yes.
at DJ Mega Aim 17.
I'm not posting anything. So okay, post.
That was awful.